Hey robot makers, hope you're having a good day so far. So Pimoroni have been sending me some new badges. If I was badgering them to send me some, I'll see myself out. Then this is the show for you. Let's dive straight in. My name's Kevin. Come with me as we build robots, bring them to life with code, and have a whole load of fun along the way. Okay, so this show today is a bit of a mailbag kind of video. So over here on the desk, I've got all kinds of things to sort of talk you through. But yes, one of the main things I've been sent is the upgrade to these badges. Have you ever seen these before? So these are really nice little badges you can wear at events. These are the original Badger 2040s from Pimoroni, and they have a little battery connector on the back, as well as powered by a Raspberry Pi RP2040. I've got a couple of these. In fact, here's one. I think this is the first one, and I've worn this one kind of in anger. In fact, you can see that there's actually one of the buttons is missing. That sort of pinged off. And we'll talk about the new versions of these and some of the improvements they've made to that. So you can see there, that's got my details on there. You can see there the sticker there. You can put the battery on with some Velcro. Cool. So we're going to have a look at some of the improvements for that. I'm just going to bring up my notes and I can talk you through everything that we've got on the desk today, because there's a lot to get through. Right. So yeah, if I show you some of these, so we've got 3 badges to look at. There's the Tufty, the Blinky, and the original Badger, and I've got, like I said, the previous generations of these as well, just on the desk here. So I'm just going to grab that one just there as well, and we'll do some unboxing and we'll have a look at what these are all about. So yeah, the original one then, so this was a Raspberry Pi RP2040 chip powered, and they've got this beautiful e-ink display. This isn't powered on, there's no battery connected to this at the moment, but you can see there, quite a nice, very easy to view content on there. So the idea is you go into some kind of event, you'd flash this with your details. So for example, on this one I've got my QR code, and you can see there you've got my name and some details. There you go. So build robots, learn Python, bring robots to life, and then it says smartphone.com. That's how old this was. That's the first website that I created for robotics back in the day. You can also see on here this later version has an indication of how much storage you've used on there, and that there's no battery connected, and it's running something called Badger OS. So a quick look on the back of these original ones. You've got the battery connector there. There's the actual processor, a USB-C connector, I2C connector, and then there's just a bunch of components on there with the nice display connector there as well. There's also some buttons there. There's a user button and a reset button. And then right in the middle, there's just a little connector there for the lanyard. There's all kinds of lanyards that you can get for these. So these are nice and light. Some of the shortcomings of these is the battery. You need to stick that on with some Velcro, and there's no real protection. You can probably 3D print some kind of case to go over these. And like I said, the original one that I had, that A button there's pinged off at some point, because these are just sort of surface mounted, soldered on there in the factory. So that's the original. I think they're the exact same. Then they came out with the Badger 2040W. So this one has the Pico W chip on board. So basically just put a Raspberry Pi Pico on there that has the Wi-Fi connectivity and Bluetooth. And it's all the same kind of connector, same kind of screen, but you've got that extra Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can do some extra cool stuff with that. I think as well on this version there's bit of a change around with some of the buttons. So you can see there the reset button is just there, and there is no user programmable button on there, because I think you essentially use the one that's on the Pico for that. And there's a bit of a change around where the battery connector goes. So yeah, putting your battery on these is a bit more of a challenge. You can see as well they've got different style connectors, because the Pico has the micro USB connector rather than the USB-C, which the original one had. So there are a couple of the original ones, and then they also brought out these Tufty. So this is the TFT version colour screen. So this is a 2040 version of that, and you've got the usual kind of up, down, left, right buttons, Velcro pad again, and the usual kind of buttons, I2C connector and the battery connector. But this is a really nice screen. I think it's a TFT colour screen. So that's kind of what we're up against at the moment. Let's unbox some of these and see what we're talking about. So one of the first things I'll say about this is the actual packaging on this is really nice. They've really gone to town with making this look kind of attractive, and it's being branded as a badge plus stem kit. So you get a temperature sensor, they call it a sensor stick, atmospheric atmos and pressure, relative humidity, tilt and movement, light and proximity, and that's what it looks like there. And then there's also a gamepad, which is really cool. And you can see on there some of the specs. So it's got 250 megahertz dual core processor, USB-C charging, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connectivity, and there's some apps included. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox this. So the first thing we notice is there's kind of two shelves in here. So we'll move that one there. So immediately this looks a very kind of different beast than the original one. I'll hold up the other one kind of side by side so you can see kind of how they stack up. So the screen there's a bit more real estate on the screen there, and it's a bit more of a sort of square shape than the original oblong rectangle. So it has these really nice soft buttons on here as well. Oh, I've kicked it into life. So how does it do that? It has a battery on board. So it's got this nice translucent plastic, kind of reminds me of the original iMacs back in the day, if you've ever remember those. It's got the USB-C connector. We've got two buttons on there, a home and boot button, and a disk, sleep and reset. If you see there's like a press it twice for disk mode, long press to make it go asleep, or you just press it once for reset. And you've also got the single wire debug connector, and also the I2C. And then you can see that there's an onboard battery, which is a rechargeable battery. The other thing to note is this surface here is great for basically just having it stand up on by itself. So let's make this boot up. So if I hold down that button there, let's just switch this on. If I can remember how to do this. So let's just boot that up. I don't know if I need to give this one a bit of a charge. I've got a cable here. No, it's booting up fine. It has got some power already on it. You can see there, this is the new interface for the Badgeware OS 4.03. And if we press these buttons, it'll move whichever one is the selected one. So you can now see it's the top middle row, which is the clock. The next one is a water. I think it reminds you, if I press the B button, that kind of loads it up. So this is like how many, units of water that you've drunk today. So you can, I guess, move that up and down perhaps. I've actually no idea how you use this app. And then to get back, we can just press that home button again, and it'll go back to the home screen. So these e-ink displays are a little bit slow, but they do last a very long time, like you've seen there on that other one that I had before. It's still got the original text displaying on there. There's the compendium. What is that? Like a banana? Let's see what that is. I'm gonna press B. So it says one fine day, one fine spring day. I've no idea what's coming next. Oh, there's a little pirate thing there. Currently in the lobby, looking at nothing. So this is some kind of game. So you can press these buttons forwards, left, and right. Let's see what happens when I turn. So let's go forwards. There's like a little map at the top left there. I don't know if you can see that. It's moving my position within that. So this is like a Doom-like game, but on an e-ink display, which is pretty impressive. So once again, if I hold down that button there, it'll go to sleep. But it has got these backlit buttons. Can you see they're just lit up then for a second? So that's now switched off, and that'll stay on the screen there. So let's have a look what else we've got in this packaging. So it says lanyard inside. If I open up this here, we can see we've got these nice lanyards. So it says Badgeware, and it also says Den Tester, which is quite cool. Now, one of the really cool things about these new design of badges is how they've got the connectors for the lanyard. I'm just going to connect this up like so. So So you can see there, they are at the side. So unlike the original one, which had the lanyard in the very middle, and that would mean that it would sort of wobble about. If you're wearing this around your neck, it's actually quite stable, and I think having it connected either side is like genius kind of move, really. The hard case as well is really nice. It does give the screen protection and also stops the buttons getting sort of knocked off, and it is these nice soft touch buttons if you've seen those before, so they've got a bit of a rubberized kind of feel to them. Really, really nice. There's also something else in there. What's that? Some kind of sticker, den tester. Love that. So that's the first shelf. I also like the fact that there's no plastic involved in this. This is all paper, which is really nice from an environmental perspective. Let's open up this one. This is the stem kit. Now let's open up and see what we have in our stem kit. So there's a couple of cables. We've got a long and a short cable. I also like the way that these kind of slide out as well. That's a nice touch. And we've got these two packages. So I've got some scissors here. I'm just going to open up this. I can do this without slicing the bag open. So there's just like a little piece of sticky tape over the edge there. Maybe I can just trim that off there like that. There we go. So this is the multi-sensor pack, multi-sensor stick. So it's got a BME 280, which we looked at last week, which is the temperature, humidity and pressure sensor. Actually holding that the wrong way around there. And we also have an LTR 559, which I'm guessing is the accelerometer. And then we have the LSM 6DS3, which is the, I'm guessing that the lux proximity sensor there as well. Let's see if I can get that a bit closer. Get that to zoom in there maybe. So you can see there we've got these connectors, and we simply just connect that up. We can also add other things to the end of there if we wish, and then we just put it into our I2C connector on there, like so. Reload this back up again. If I just press that home button to wake this up, I'll see if there's actually an app that can use these. I think there is, if I remember correctly. Let's give that a moment to boot up. So that's the sensor stick back. And I'm just going to press on the home button there to make it load up the home app. And there's also another one, which is the Quest gamepad, which looks pretty neat. So while that loads up there, I'm going to go to the next page and see if there's any other apps on there. I'm pretty sure that there is. If not on this one, I'll show you on the other badges that they do have some other apps. In fact, I'll go to the top of the screen and then to the top again. So this is the little gamepad. How cute is that? So it has these two, they call them Quest connectors. It's a STEMMA QT or Quick connector, essentially an I2C connector, just like we've connected into the, we can connect this up. If I get this the right way around, to our sensor stick. You can basically just have these on like a long chain if you wish. And that means we can play games, so you've got like a left and right, up and down, select plus and minus kind of button on there as well. So I'm not sure on this one, is there a test app for this? I'm sure there was on the other ones. Well, let's try that banana game again and see if that one allows us to use the gamepad. Oh, so that was USB disk mode. Oops, I pressed that by accident. Just reset that again. I'd not moved across correctly. There we go. Go for that compendium. So I'm not sure if that is compatible with the, obviously they need to write this so that it works with that, but let's give that a go and see if anything works on there. No, I don't think they've written that to work with this this gamepad, but that's what you get in the pack. Pretty nice set of things that come with it. Right, so I'm just going to set that to one side. So that's the original, or what I should call the Badgeware 2350. We'll talk a bit more about the specs and stuff in a second or two, because there's quite a bit to dig into there. Let's open up this. This is the Blinky 2350. So again, we've got the nice two shelved units. There's the Blinky itself. Let's have a look at the lanyard. I think all the lanyards and all the stickers you get are different with 3. You obviously can't just get one, you have to get the whole set. We don't have to, but you know what I mean. So that one says Hack-a-Mole. Put that over there. And then this one that says, I love that, Corporate Mole. So this has got a green back compared to the blue back of the Badgeware 2350. So same kind of deal. You've got the rechargeable battery in there. You've got the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip up top there. That's the is it called the RP2 chip? It's essentially their Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip. And you can see there we've got the rechargeable battery. Got the usual kind of buttons. But this one, I might need to turn down the overhead lights on this. Let me just do that, so you can see just how nice this screen is when it comes on. I press the correct button on there. There we go. So these lights, if I hold this really close, can you see there's just like a matrix of LED lights. So they're a single colour, but they can do lots of different gradients of colour. And they are very, very interactive. Look how quick this is as it moves left and right. So that's some kind of game. Let's press that. How nice is it that it kind of zooms in? And this is kind of demonstrating some of the graphics capabilities of the Badgers. Pimoroni have done a fantastic job of improving the Pico graphics library. I think it's now called Pico Graphics 2. So look at all the different kind of cool things. It's like demo scene things, if you remember from back in the day. If you had like an Atari ST or an Amiga, or even a PC, people do all kinds of clever things with this. So you've got some sprites that are sort of zooming in and out, which is pretty cool. So you can maneuver graphics around real quick on these. I'll tell you more about that in a second or two. But look at the anti-aliasing of this as well. So this is these lights are not just going on and off. The brightness is being varied to make them look, so that circle looks very rounded, even though it's just on a very I'm going to say crude display. That's pretty nice, isn't it? And then you've got this nice little scroller, so that's saying hello world. So we can turn the brightness up, or we can just cycle through all the different animations. Look at that, some kind of pie chart thing going on there. And then back to that other one there. So let's go back to the home screen. So this one here, let's see what that is. That's some kind of demonstration of all the different things you can display on this. So it's just going to cycle through lots of different fonts, which is pretty neat. Go back to the home screen, see what else we've got. So there's a clock, there's the USB disc mode, and then there's a snake-like game. So a worm. let's play Worm. So this is like the original Worm game. So the more that you eat, the longer that your worm will get. And so on. You can see there I'm getting like a score being displayed there as well. Let's see if I can. I'm terrible at this game. There we go. It's got 4 things lit up now. There we go. So we can play that ad infinitum. Let's see what else we've got. So this is a cool game. So I'm hoping you can see that nicely on. There's kind of nice variations of the graphics on there. Let's zoom into this. So this is zoom. It says on the display there, ready. So this is quite a cool game. So there's like it's a bit like the Death Star, and you've got to kind of find. I crashed then. You've got to try and find the hole that you need to fly your ship through. Let's see if we can do that again now. So I think it's bottom left. There we go. Ooh. Nope, it crashed. I'm terrible at this. So I scored 9. So amazing that they can do this on this very simple display. Let's see if there's anything else that's worth showing on there. So I think we've been through all of them now. I don't know if the clock needs Wi-Fi connectivity, but yeah, missing details. So we need the Wi-Fi connection so it can connect to an internet time server. And if I now press the sleep button, you'll see for a second that the backlights kind of come on. So I'm going to show you that as I hold it down there. And then they sort of go off. And again, that one can sort of stand up. And similarly to the other one, we have the stem kit in there. So it's the same stuff we've seen in the previous one. So you've got the 2 wires. Short wire and a long wire, and then you get the sensor stick and also the gamepad in there as well. So let's shove them back in. Again, loving the packaging on this. I like that there's variations on each of them, so you get different stickers, different lanyards as well. Makes them nice. And then there's the Tufty. So this is the upgraded version of this little badge that I have here. This is the original Tufty. So this one has a full colour screen. Let's open up this one. This has got like an orange kind of look to it. Let's see what we have in here. So we've got, how do you pronounce that? Secure Day Consultant. I've no idea. It's like a scroll consultant. There he is. Let's put in with the rest of the stickers, and of course we have a lanyard in here as well. Let's see what this one says. So Badgeware, and then there we go. See, what is that? Sayuri Day Consultant. Sayuri Day. I have no idea. Okay, let's switch this one on. So this, I think, has got the nicest screen by far. When this one eventually switches on, there we go. So look at that really nice animation they've got going on there for the Badgeware 4.03. So you can see there's like, it looks like there's text scrolling in the background. And ignore that little icon there, that was me sort of playing around. We can see we've got the battery status on there. 30 minutes to Alpha Centauri is the game. We'll play that in a minute. But look at that, when you move around, they sort of spin around. How nice is that? Be Amazed. Let's play Be Amazed. So this is a cute little game. It's that weird effect you can see there. That's just because I'm viewing this from a camera onto a screen. You often get these sort of weird artifacts showing. But there we go. So this is a really cute little game. Bit like a Pac-Man kind of game, and it's just kind of showing off the capabilities of what this can do. There we go. So we'll just keep blinking through all these various different levels. So it's a very, very quick display to update. And the colours look really, really vibrant on it. Again, it's got the same translucent background case to it, the rechargeable battery, the Wi-Fi chip, the USB connectors, and so on. And if we press the home button again, let's play this 30 minutes from Alpha Centauri. So you had a bit of a preview of that on the other one, but look at the graphics on this. It looks really, really nice. So it says there, "Hey hotshot." Hope they weren't yanking my chain when they said that you was the best drone jockey this side of Arcturus. Is that right, Arcturus? Got an urgent delivery of Enviro units, and the faster you get them there, the bigger the bonus. It sounds good. So let's go through the things there. So 162 clicks to the destinations. There you go. Look at that. So I can move around, and I've basically got to avoid these barriers and sort of get through the holes. And I can also move up and down and then into that hole there. No, I'm dead. Look at that, it's like a TV screen. Nice. Really like the capabilities that this is demonstrating. So just think about what's going on there. This is a microcontroller. This is an RP2350. So there's no extra kind of graphics processor in here. It's doing 3D graphics. So it's scrolling left and right a 3D kind of maze. And we're also animating those sprites as well. Very, very impressive what's going on there. Right, let's load this back up. So that was called 30 minutes Alpha Centauri. We've got the badge, so you can do a badge, but it's got this nice kind of effect on there. Can you see that's kind of looks like it's zooming in. There's a little squirrel there as well, which is quite cute. Let's go back to the home screen. I was just trying to play around with a Tamagotchi type thing. I've not quite finished that yet. Oops. Press the wrong button then. Let me just go back to there. Let's jump down. So we did BMAs. The clock, I think, needs the Wi-Fi. Let's have a look at this one. So this is like demonstrations of the graphics capabilities. So again, just look how nice this is. It's going from a really sharp image to a really blurred image. So this is using a blur, and you can see there the blur radius is being sort of increased in real time. And it's also rotating around quite a large graphic in memory. So this is all happening on the RP2350. We'll talk about how it does this in a second. Look at that, that's just demonstrating how many it can draw circles very, very quickly. Many, many circles. There's also a really nice scrolling menu there. Can you see that as I move up and down there? So this is dithering. We've then got image brush. Look at that. Look how fast that is. That's ridiculous. Intersect, so it's intersecting two shapes. And doing a kind of XOR on the colours, which is nice. We've got line clip. It's really nice. We've got lines, more lines being drawn. Got some 3 patterns that's kind of overlaying. And as well, look at the kind of gradient that you can see there. So you've got this nice little font on here where it says pattern. Now this is ridiculous. This is real-time raycasting on a microcontroller. That's just crazy. That's actually crazy. It's like a Doom-like game. So you can see the little map there, and you can see the walls that it's rendering as it's spinning round. That's really, really cool. We've got Low Fat Code. This is one of the co-founders of Pimoroni who's just joined in the chat. How are you doing there, John? So just showcasing some of the amazing capabilities of the Tufty. I think this is my favourite Badger by far, but look at that. Absolutely incredible. The new Pico Graphics 2 library is just insane. Look at that, got shapes. So these shapes are cycling through, spinning round, resizing, and also they've got some kind of transparency calculations going on. Really, really clever. Got some sprites, got those cool school sprites zooming in and out, and again overlaying on each other. Really nice. And just look how quick they're moving around. I didn't think this was possible on a microcontroller. We've got text, and the text is kind of being clipped inside a shape, so you can see there that's happening kind of in real time as well, which is nice. And they've got transforming sprites. So that the Pico Graphics 2 library, I had a good look and looking inside this. I'll show you this on screen in a minute or two as well, so you can understand how you can do things like this on your Badger when you get yours as well. So rotating, scaling, and transforming, like moving the position X, Y, they can all be done in one transformation using matrices. I remember back in the day when I was looking at how to make your own kind of Doom game, they use a lot of matrix maths in there. It's got some triangles being drawn very quickly on the screen, and we've got some vector shapes. Look how nice they are, particularly like these little arcs that are growing and shrinking there. Look, they're all happening on the screen at the same time. Again, I didn't think this was possible on a microcontroller. And they've got some vector text, so this isn't like a bitmap font, this is vector fonts, just like true type fonts. And I think that's the... Oh, there we go. We've got a world as well. Look at all the different points on the world. Pretty impressive. Pretty smooth animation. And then back to the top, to the blur again. So they're just some of the graphics capabilities that you can expect on these badges, which is just unreal. So that was the demonstration there that we had. So there is also extender scroll. But before we played the worm game on the Blinky, let's play on this one. This is really fun. I like this one. So it's a similar kind of thing to the snake game, but your scroll gets elongated the more nuts you eat. Love that. So John, who came up with this game? There we go. Getting a much longer squirrel. I could play this all day. So if you're at an event, you can basically just make your badge into a games console as well. Right, let's see what else we have on here. So we've got the hydrate. Again, that tells you how much liquid you've had today. And then we've got these. Let's have a look at this. Plucky Cluck. So this is like a Flappy Bird type game. You've got to basically have your bird fly through the holes. I'm terrible at these types of games. Right, let's go back, and then let's go back to the sensors. Right, so this time I'm going to unplug the sensor from that one. I'm going to plug it into this one. So this is the sensor stick. Let's have a play around with that. So I'm just plugging that into the I2C. And there's the sensor stick that we have there. So let's load up that app. So you can see that we've got the sensor suite. It looks like note paper. We've got the temperature, so let's press on that one. So the BME is just near my thumb there. That's that little silver sort of square. So John says their badges are on the way out of our lovely fruity friends right now, meaning Adafruit. They should be listing them any day now. So if I hold my thumb now over that temperature sensor, you should see that sort of should rise as it sort of tries to mimic my body temperature. And if I let go of that, if I breathe on this, you should see the humidity, relative humidity, the RH. See that it goes up pretty quick, and it's pretty responsive. Look how quickly it goes back down there. Now if we come out of that, now we've now got light as well, so that's one of these other sensors, which is this proximity sensor there. So if I go for let's go for that one there, do light. If I hold my thumb over, you can see those circles kind of disappear, and as I let more light, if I show this to the overhead camera light, let's put that back on, and you'll see when I show that the circles go really large. If I turn that down, you can see that they shrink again, so it can detect the light level, which is pretty cool. And then we've got the movement, so let's go on that one. So this is using the accelerometer. So if I move this around like so, I guess I can just move the sensor stick. You can see it's moving all around, depending on which orientation I've got this sensor stick in. So it's a really nice demonstration of the sensor stick there. So that's that. Let's go back to the home. Now let's see if there's anything else on there that we needed to... Sketchy sketch. So this is a bit like Etch-a-Sketch, I guess. Really nice. I wondered if you had the shaky shake to get rid of everything. What else have we got on there? So that was the Etch-a-Sketch. Then we've got Snarky. Secure. I can't pronounce that. Sayuridae, is that? Play, feed, and clean. Let's play. Oh, so this is like a Tamagotchi type thing. Feed, clean. There we go. So you've got 3 options, but again, look how nice, look how playful that is. The font's kind of moving up and down, as well as the little arrow, and he's running off there. I guess he's basically just going to do stuff. Let's go back to the home screen again. Tennis? This is like Pong, is it, I guess? Oh, is it just these up and down ones there? I did play this before. It gets faster and faster the more that you play it. There we go. Getting faster. Tried to give it a bit of spin then. Oh, this is going to wipe me out, isn't it? There we go. So you get the idea. I'm not going to play that too long. I think there was one last thing on there, which is tomato. So this is like a Pomodoro timer. You get 25 minutes. You basically just start that off, and it'll start now counting down, and it'll alert when it's when your time's up. You know, so obviously pause that as well. So that's really cool, isn't it? So to load these, to load apps and things on here, you simply just plug in your USB cable, USB-C, and then you stick this into, and this will also charge the battery at the same time, and you can then basically just put it into disk mode. If I press that twice, it's now in USB disk mode, and over on my my Mac, I'll see that as a new drive where I can load things in or play around with these. So how cool is that? Don't you really want one of these now? I absolutely love these. These are my favourite new thing. I was thinking, like, what else could I do with this? We've got all this kind of connectivity. We've also got this nice battery connections and stuff. These are asking to be built into some kind of robot. So definitely thinking about how I can use these, and I will definitely be taking these along with me to some kind of event as well, whenever we have an event. So again, just for sort of size, let's put this one over my neck there. You can see, nice and secure. The fact that I have these at the either end of the badge means it's really nice and secured in place. It does still have the original hole there if you wanted to use that as well. So these are really nice. I love the corporate mall one. I think that's my favourite favourite lanyard. So Pietro says, please make a robot base on these. Absolutely. We can see just how much kind of power is hidden inside these, and it's just the RP2350 chip. Now I say just, let's talk about specs on these. I'm going to load up the Badgerbot, Dale says. Yes, definitely want to Badgerbot. So there we go. Got those on the lanyards. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just flick over in a second to a web page. Let me just load up. Let's load up that one there. Right. So Pimoroni have got quite a mature history of creating badges for things. You may or may not know that they did the badges for the GitHub Universe, which is like an event that's held each year, kind of showcasing what's new in the world of GitHub. And yeah, people were going crazy because they could hack their badges. This seems to be a thing at these tech events now. So that looks very similar to the original little badger. Similar kind of screen, and obviously you've got all the kind of connectivity and so on there, so you can hack these. People went absolutely crazy for this. Was it 10,000 of these? I can't remember what the number was, John, that you had to make for the GitHub Universe. And they've been doing that for the past 4 years, so they've been doing this a little while now. So for me, this new badge it's kind of, you can see the refinement that's gone into this. There's just so many different aspects of this that make this a refined device. But we need to talk about some of the specs on there. 4,000, there we go. Thanks, John. So yes, let's talk about some of the specs on this. So we've got the 2.8 TFT screen on the Tufty version. We've got Badgeware, which is the name, oh, Badgeware. I keep saying Badgeware. Badgeware, which is the name of the family of badgers, the set of badgers. So let's talk about these specs on here, because I think this is for me some of the interesting stuff. So the TFT screen, 2.8 inch, inline plane switching, 320 by 240 pixels with adjustable backlight, photo transistor for light sensing, which is pretty clever, powered by the 2350B, so that's the chip that's on there. You might notice that the chip is pretty big. We compare these side by side, in fact. So the blue one on the left, I'm flattering myself if I'm not careful, that has the smaller size processor, whereas the Tufty has the larger size processor. So if you look just here through the plastic, you can see that's the B size processor, whereas on the other one, if I can move these out of the way so you can actually see it, that's the A size. So there's the B size and the A size. It just means they've got more pins on them, so you can do more things with the pins. But yes, we also have 16 meg of QSPI flash, so that's for storing your programs on there. We've got the usual RB2350 chip, so M33 running at 250 megahertz with 520k of SRAM. But we also have the magic ingredient, which is it's 8 meg of pseudo-static RAM. So that means we can use up to 8 megs of RAM for all the sprites, all the graphics and so on. And I think that's what makes these seem quite magical to me. We've got the the Raspberry Pi RM2 module, so that's the Citron Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip. So you've got all the Bluetooth standards there for wireless LAN, Bluetooth and so on. We've got a battery that just does not quit. So these badges don't use very much power as it is. So the fact you've got 1000 milliamp hours on the battery means that they last a very long time. Definitely like a couple of hours at an event, I would say, easily. So that's what we have battery wise. There is the battery protector as well, which is the case. So obviously that has to be kind of crush resistant and make sure that you don't knock the battery, have any kind of fire starting when you're wearing this around your neck. That won't be a good thing. Got a real-time clock for wake and sleep, which is pretty cool. Got the polycarbonate case with the orange backlight. Each of them has a different coloured backlight, a different kind of coloured case, and the backlights kind of show through that as well, which is nice. 4-zone mono LED case lighting, which again you can program. We have the 5 buttons on the front, so the up, down, A, B and C. We've got the reset, which is also the sleep one, the home button, which is also the boot button on the back. And we've got the connector, so the USB-C for charging and programming, I2C for quick STEMMA QT for attaching breakouts. We did that with that sensor stick a couple of minutes ago. And we've also got that single wire debug connector as well for if you need to do any kind of debugging of your code. And it's obviously programmable with my favourite language, MicroPython. There's nothing stopping you from programming that with C, C++ as well, but I think all the magic is in MicroPython with these. So it comes fully assembled, there's no soldering required. You saw I opened this straight out of the box and we started playing right away. It includes that matching 2-clip lanyard as well, so absolutely love this. There's all kinds of documentation on here as well, so the documentation for the Badgeware itself, look at that, badgeware.docs. And there's some pretty crazy, amazing things in here. So where's that one that was the rendering stuff? Let's see if this was in here. Yeah, so this Mat3 is for doing 3-dimensional matrices. Like I said, you can rotate, scale and transform, inverse, multiply. You can do all kinds of things in essentially one very simple mathematical operation. We have what they call algorithm. So this is how we can do like ray tracing on a this is insane, ray tracing on a microcontroller. So you can use this algorithm that they've included on there. So essentially they've packed into the MicroPython library, the Pico Graphics 2 library, some really advanced graphics stuff. I think John spent quite a bit of time doing this, and it shows that he's put the effort in. So there you go. Here's an example that casts a short ray and then prints all of the intersections. You can see there it's kind of spinning round, and every time it goes past a vertical or horizontal line, you've got the dot there. And this is the code that does that. So very straightforward piece of code there. We could copy and paste that into Thonny, upload that into the badge, and you'll see that running just fine. So there's a couple of the APIs that they've got there. So they've got things like shape as well, so you can draw the shapes, all the kind of circles, rectangles, triangles, diamonds, rounded things, squircles. Love it, absolutely love it. So I'm thinking about, like, what else could I do with this? There's so many things. We could have this as like an interactive display showing like what the robot is thinking at that point in time. Got stars, lines, all the things. It's a really mature graphics library, this. And somebody was asking a while ago when I showed on the video that I did last time, the pre-recorded video on the using MicroPython and displays, could you change the font size? And my response to that comment was, use Pico graphics. You can have all the fonts. You can have all the different sizes you like. So there's an example. We've got the what's that, font compass, nope, unfair, and all the different sizes. So John says, we're working on a simulator dev tool to allow you to work on projects off the badge to make it even more convenient. Wow. So that's pretty awesome. And it's pretty simple to look at all these fonts. Look at all these fonts. I'm loving the style of these. Some of these like really retro, kind of an 8-bit graphic style. Love it. Love it. So many fonts. This is just crazy. And you can see there the different size of these fonts as well, and the names of them, and the examples, and then all the things that you can do with it. So cool. So you'll definitely want to include this in some of your projects, I would say. This is so much fun. The sprite sheet, you can do all kinds of sprites. So one of the things I was looking at doing, and I didn't quite finish it, that was what that little weird graphic was on mine, which is just there. I was basically getting the code that I'd written for the Pico Tamachibi, and I was going to write like a badge Tamachibi. That was the idea anyway. So I will do that at some point because it's just so much fun. But yeah, there's even more that the firmware has been updated again. So there's a couple of improvements on there. Love it. I love how it's there's just more effort being put into this all the time. So let's see what else we've got to talk about on there. I love that they have a backlight on the badges as well. It's just a really nice touch. Cool. So John says there, Graphic Bible, Computer Graphics Principles and Practice for Foley, worth checking out if you want to implement your own graphics library. Cool. Yeah, I think what was the, I don't know if I've still got the book actually. I probably have. Looking on my shelf over there. So I did have the John Carmack, the guy who wrote Doom. There was like a book on how to do graphics, the kind of graphics that went into Doom, because Doom uses ray casting rather than ray tracing. So ray tracing would be where you send a photon of light and it bounces off all the different things, all the different objects in a scene, and then what you end up with on the screen is what the value of that looks like. And ray casting kind of does the opposite. So rather than having to bounce that particle off everything, you just send it off that object onto the screen, is what I think, if I remember correctly. And also you can do some sort of shortcuts by doing them at columns at a time. So there we go. Yes, John says it's a great piece for the bookshelf. The Black Book. Used to implement line drawing on the Z80. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember back in the day when I did my computer science degree, we did a graphics module. It's one of my favourite modules, and something as simple as drawing like a line or an arc for a circle, you will get into all kinds of weird situations where if the pixel isn't on or off, if it's kind of between the the threshold of what would be a pixel or not a pixel, these things end up with like really broken curves or a line that looks really awkward at certain angles. So anti-aliasing or anti-aliasing, I can never remember the correct the correct pronunciation of this. That was something that would solve that problem by just having, instead of it being like black and white, you would have different greys between them, and you get that nice smoothing. And you can see that on the on some of the demos that were on here, particularly on that Blinky one. Switch that back on. There we go. If I go for that, nope. Just find the right demo. So yeah, on this one, it's not looking great on this screen. Let me go back to the overhead camera there. So yeah, if I maneuver that on to some different... Just trying to find one that's got the anti-aliasing on there. So that probably has a little bit of it when it sort of zooms out. There we go, that's got a bit of anti-aliasing on it. So where the edges would be really sharp, you get this kind of nice grain between them, little in-between values. But yeah, pretty dated, but the fundamentals stand. The Vector Graphics functionality uses a tile-based renderer that supports up to 4 times anti-aliasing. That's pretty cool. Make that a bit bigger so we can see what people are saying on there. Cool. So yes, absolutely love these. I love almost everything about these, from the packaging, just from the visual style of this. The fact that there's no plastics used in this, it's all just I'll just show you that. That the wrong way around there. Even the fact that there's like these little holes for you to put the finger in to slide out and reveal. And the fact we have the stem kit as well. Really like these. These are really hackable, but really polished as well. Can you tell I like these a lot? So they were the first bunch of things I wanted to sort of showcase today. So if you can get your hands on one of these, I would definitely go out there and get them. And you also get these cool stickers as well. Hack them all on the den tester. And there's another sticker as well. I think that's on there somewhere. There we go. That, however you pronounce that. Yeah, John says we didn't want anything that was likely to end up in the bin. Ideal for recycling to have plastic. I like that a lot. So the other couple of things I wanted to quickly cover off then. So I ordered myself a new Raspberry Pi mouse, and this was called the Raspberry Pi Mouse 2. So I don't know how different this is from the original ones, but I'm just going to open this up. And interestingly, they've also gone for, so there's no plastic in there, and this is a paper-based little bag, which is nice. And yeah, it's just the usual kind of Raspberry Pi mouse. It does feel a little bit different. I don't know if I've got one to hand actually that makes it. Let's just do a bit of comparison. Yeah, looks identical to the ones I've already got, so I'm not sure what warrants a version 2 of the mouse, but yeah, I got that one because Jenny wanted a mouse for her laptop. So what I did have to do is go out and buy a whole ton of these USB. Is it USB-B to USB-C connectors? Just so we can connect these up to all the new computers. But yeah, that's going to be sat on that computer, which is just there. I've upgraded the Core 1. You can see there's that 5 pieces of filament there, and I've got the multi-material unit on there, so you can print 5 different colours at the same time. I did the test print up for that, which is it's a little sheep. You can see there it's got 3 colours, got white, yellow and black. And yeah, it kind of integrates, it's all one single solid piece. I actually had to print this. This was the second one I've started, and I got the colours wrong, so it started printing red instead of yellow because I hadn't sorted the colours out in the Prusa Slicer software. That was a bit frustrating. So yeah, we've got the mouse there. We've got also this from Sunfounder, which is the Pi Power 5. So this is a UPS for a Raspberry Pi. Let's go to the overhead camera. I can show you this. So it has a lot of... So this is kind of the opposite of what I like. I like the actual product, but I don't like all the little bags. Bags within bags, which are all like plastic. Are they really needed? So they made this easy, so it's easy in the instructions on how to construct this. It is quite a complicated little build. So it's a hat that goes onto your Raspberry Pi, or actually underneath your Raspberry Pi and on top, kind of sandwiches between. So you can see there we've got the battery, we've got the Raspberry Pi, and then this sits on the top of the Raspberry Pi. So it works with the Raspberry Pi 3, 4 and 5, and also the 02W as well. And this is essentially a UPS for your Raspberry Pi. So it comes with a stonking great big battery, and it even comes with a little toolkit, which is quite cute. So yeah, there's a great big battery, looks like two 18650 type style batteries. So they're 7.4 volts, 2000 milliamp hours. So that's twice the power of what's inside this, which is a 1000 milliamp hour. So just by way of comparison. And then let's open up this. This is the actual Pi Power 5 itself. I'll definitely be using this on some projects. So interesting, they've got a big USB B connector there, is that? Pi Power 5 Hat Plus. All kinds of jumpers on there for different options. Got some terminals on there as well for, I guess that's motor drivers. Now there's a Quest connector on there as well. Just there. Excuse me. And then we've obviously got the battery connector there that just connects in like so. And there's a USB-C connector there for, I assume, charging this. So I'm going to compare this as well to the Sugar Pi, or Pi Sugar, which is a battery pack. That one is a 5000 milliamp hour battery. So look at the difference. This is a 2000 milliamp hour battery versus a 5000 milliamp hour battery. That's 18 watt hours on that one as well. It's 3.7 volts. So much chunkier battery choice on that one. That's what makes the Pi Sugar quite nice, because it's nice and flat, and they've also got the little connector on there as well. Excuse me. So yeah, a bit of construction required on that one. All the standoffs, all the different connectors. So for me, I don't know why that couldn't have gone in that little paper bag, rather than having everything in plastic bags. I understand that anti-static and so on, and these to sort of protect the pins from getting bent in transit. And it's not that easy to get that back in that bag. It's that's quite a chunky connector there, so that's probably going to live like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to including that in a project very, very soon. So thanks Mike from Sunfounder for sending me that. I'll definitely be using that on a project very, very soon. You can never have too many Raspberry Pi battery packs, particularly if you're doing any kind of events where power may or may not be available. Got so much stuff on this desk right now. And we had Waveshare send me this as well. So this is a Power over Ethernet hat. So you can see there, there's a great big transformer on there to drop down the current that's coming through from the Power over Ethernet, from the Ethernet port, and then it can power the Pi. So you don't need any kind of other power, you can basically just inject the power. I have got a power injector somewhere amongst my stuff, and I've also got an Aruba switch which can also do PoE. So yes, so Dale's saying Pi Power 5 equals robot. Absolutely, 100%. Yes. And Rory says, we do educational events for students. What's the cheapest e-ink badge I could get at the event that they could reuse? Looking for Ali insight right now. What is the price of the original badges? What are these ones going for right now? Let's have a quick look and see. Are you still selling these at the moment, or is it now just all the newer versions? Let's have a look at Badger. Just going to put this on screen as well so we can see what we've got. So obviously the the TFT one, £67.50 with the stem kit, £49.50 for without the stem kit, £49.50 for the Badgeware e-ink, or 67 with the stem kit, and then similar with the Blinky, 49 or 67, so they're all similar kind of price. So have you stopped doing the original Badger? Let's have a look. Guess they've been retired now is my guess. Sold out at Pi Hut. So these are all in stock now, which is good. Going cheap will bite you. Ah, there we go. The older version is now retired. Understood. I know that the screens are probably more tricky to get hold of now. Plus, it's there's better things out there available now, aren't they? So do it right and reuse. We offer educational discounts through our wholesale store. That's worth looking at, Rory. I still use my Badger 2040 as a work ID. Love it. I know cheap isn't optimal, but 200 will kill my budget. Cool. So was there anything else I was going to cover off? We've got the... there's so much stuff on that desk now I can't even see. Yeah, I was basically just going to talk about the multi-material upgrade that I did to my printer. You can just see behind me now I've got a little arc of 5 Prusament reels, and then there's also just above me there like a bit of a lump now on top of my printer. I think I need to do a little bit of tweaking because it keeps getting one of the filaments sort of stuck in the changer a little bit. But yeah, you build it yourself as the kit. So it took me a couple of hours to assemble this, the actual multi-material unit. So it's got 3 different stepper motors on it. One to sort of pull the filament through, one to change the head, and then there's another one, and I can't remember what that one does now. Maybe it's just 2. No, it does like there's 3 actually. And you can do this programmatically. You can basically just tell Prusa slice. I'm going to open this up and show you actually. Or you can use the little buttons that are on the unit itself to sort of maneuver things about. So if I go over to there, and if I load in, let me just load in, what's that test print thing there? That's cute cheap. Let's open up that one. There you go. So that block there is the little waste column, what do you call it? A wipe tower, I think they call it. And this is quite substantial. So obviously, for it to purge through enough material when you're printing so that when it comes to print on the actual model, it's the right colour, it has to waste a bit of material. There's no way around that. There are these indexes instead, which is a different technique. So this one it presents 5 tubes of filament, one from each of the reels. And then there's like a little head that moves around between those 5 filament pipes. And it chooses which one it wants to use. It then pulls the filament through the little Bowden tube direct into the hot end, and then it wipes on that sort of wipe tower any of the excess to make sure it's got through, and it knows the length of that Bowden tube, so it needs to basically use up as much that's in there or in the hot end, and then it can go and print the current colour onto the model. So it can do this midway through a print. It's not like layer based. It can do this on the same layer. You can have up to 5 colours on the same layer. So this one, you can see this little sheep here. He has some eyes, and he's got black pupils. He's got white surround, and he's also got a little yellow face and a little white body. So that was that little test print that I did just to see could do something for a bit of time. I want to try things out like this before I get into a project, because I'd hate to learn all this stuff live on a project. So yeah, you can, on the right hand side here, you can see I've loaded up into the slice all the different colours I've got. So there's black, orange, yellow, red and white. And then on the actual model itself, you can paint the colours on if you want to. So you can either use the Smart Fill. So say I wanted to make his face red. Oops. So if I go to the first colour I'm going to click is going to be the red. So if I click on there, it'll make his ears and his whatever I click on red. I can then choose the second colour to be whatever I want, so like yellow. So I wanted his face to be yellow again, I can right click on that. Now one of the awkward things is, well, what if you want to get that eye? Why is that eye not selecting? You've got to sort of change the smart fill angle on there so that it guesses that better. So there's a little bit of learning on there on how you can do this. But yeah, you can essentially just make models just by sort of painting on this. It's quite cool. It does add a bit of extra time because obviously it's got to load and unload the filament and do the sort of wipe tower thing as well. But yeah, it's all good fun. I think there's about £300 for the kit for that, but it's a lot of fun to actually build that. Cool. So got a lot of love for Pimoroni going on there. Dale says Pimoroni rocks, and he wants to get the trial bot. I've still got my trial bot. I did have it just behind me, but I must have moved it. But yeah, still got my trial bot. I love that little robot. So let's see if there's anything else we needed to cover off on there, to see if there's any other comments. Oh, there we go. I've missed a bit of a conversation there. I'm just going to rewind back a little bit. So what we're saying, I think we can get some sponsors as a reuse value. There we go. And John says, I haven't been to Jersey in over a decade, but it'd be good to find an excuse to expense the trip. So we went last year. We met up with Rory there. It's a really nice little island to jump over to. It only takes about half an hour from Manchester Airport. Plenty nice places to stay there. There you go. John's saying drop an email if you want to work something out, which is pretty good. Love a good expense. Definitely wait until May. There's a different island in the sun. Cool. That's awesome. I love it when people make connections. So let me see. I've covered off, I think, everything I wanted to do today, which is the Prusa, the Pi Power 5, all the badges, and the little mouse as well, which I got. I think that's everything that's on my desk. So yeah, definitely check out the badges, all three. So which one of the three would you get? Again, I've got a weird refresh rate on this camera. The reason I've got this refresh rate on this camera is these LED lights, these flicker. So I've had to set this so it looks right on camera there. You can see when I do that versus when I go on the overhead camera. They look very different. So that flickering on there, on this one, is just an artifact of the camera, not of the actual screen itself. But yeah, which one of these would you get? I love the Tufty one myself. I'm also really liking the Blinky. I think that's got it's really quite vibrant, the colours when you look at that compared to the Tufty one, or the. And this one's got quite a nice display on it, but it's not backlit in any way. This one's screaming at you when you look at it to look at it. So yeah, I really like this. Yeah. So yeah, definitely think about some kind of a project to put them in, some kind of robot. And yeah, I think that's everything I've got covered off for you today. This was a fun mailbag episode. So I think we've covered off everything that people have been talking about in the chat as well. Yeah, John says Blinky is bright. It really is. Pietro sees a Tufty in his future. That's good. And Dale wants a Blinky and the Tufty one as well. So yes. What we got there? Chaos Theory says, found your page, just wanted to start a project with the an old Pi and a couple of servo motors, decided on the Scrawly Wally project you posted. Just wanted to say thank you for your code and the parts. And John says the new Inky display is lovely though. The extra grayscale levels have a huge difference and a higher dot pitch, a more sane aspect ratio. Yeah, love the e-ink display. I like the fact you've done that little game on there as well. That really does sort of showcase what you can do with that display. It really does look very sharp. And if I hold that one really close there, you can see it looks really nice. Does Blinky come in different colours? let John answer that one. I don't think so. I think it's standard, just white. But there's nothing stopping you from putting a filter on top of that if you wanted to. I think you can actually remove these cases. I've not actually done that myself yet. I don't want to break these, but yeah. So retro. It's really, really nice. I could just keep going on about how nice these things are all day. Cool. So let me see if there's anything else. No, I think I've covered off everything. We talked about the website where you can get these from. So yeah, if you want to check out Pimoroni's website, head over to Pimoroni.com, and they've got all the things there under their Pimoroni section. So everything that they make is on there. They've got all kinds of other things like the inky impression, which is the screens. I've got all the screens down there. I should do a video on those. They come in all kinds of sizes, as well as the badges. We've got the NVMe bases and Duo, so you can have two NVMe drives on your Raspberry Pi, which is pretty cool. And then these plasmas, I use these everywhere. You might have noticed one of the projects I've been working on, which was I basically wanted to have 3 controls that you could turn, and it would change the humor level, the length of response, and like snarkiness or something like that to an LLM. And I used the Plasma 2040 in there. I think it's a 2040 because it's got the nice quick connector on it. So, and also Wi-Fi, so I could connect this up. I could turn on these, and it would adjust the, like I said, the humor level of my large language model. You can feed that directly into Llama or something like that. So John is asked, is it Pi or Pim? So it's not Pimoroni, it's Pimoroni. Pim. There you go. I had a session with John where he taught me, coached me how to say it properly, because I kept saying it wrong. So yeah, Pim, as in Pims, Pimoroni. Pirate Monkey Robot Ninja. Is that right? Don't want to make a fool of myself, of course not. So they'll need to get the Plasma 2350 to control lights and powered wheelchair. Absolutely. John says, just created a YouTube live integration. It creates a calendar for my favourite YouTubers' scheduled live streams. How embarrassing I've been saying it. I said it wrong on their official videos as well until I got told otherwise. So I'm going to do a video on the inky impression. We'd love to see what you can do with that. Absolutely. So I've got the large one somewhere in the studio. I'm trying to think where I put that. It's like A4 size. It's absolutely ginormous. So yeah. I do not have any favourite YouTubers. Dale. So yeah, definitely, if you've got any request videos, let me know and I shall add them to the to-do list. Everyone says it wrong, even Lady Ada. Is it Lady Ada? Though we've never corrected her. We're sanguine about it. So how do you pronounce the that word? I can't pronounce that word. Looks like size and science. Sayuridae, is that right? Sayuridae consultant. I'm assuming it means like squirrel, but I don't know. Ada. Adafruit. I know it's from Ada Lovelace, isn't it? That's the link there, I'm guessing. Is there anything else we need to cover off on that store? Yeah, definitely go and check out. You can basically spend all your pocket money in the Pimoroni store. I'm always buying stuff from there. Even though I'm sure John would send me some stuff for free if I asked, I still like to spend my pocket money in there. There's all kinds of stuff. I was looking at I think I wanted yet another Raspberry Pi 5 for a project, but they've gone up a little bit in price, haven't they? So yeah, there's a nice example there. Just need to showcase of a little graph or something. Look at that. That looks nice. So yeah, and yeah, of course the tinies. I think I did them on that little project. So this little project I made. In fact, let me plug that in, and it'll start telling you what temperature we have in the room. So this one uses a bunch of Pimoroni and Adafruit components. So I'll show you the screen on the other thing in a minute, but that's an Adafruit display, and then it has the Pimoroni breakout BME 280 and also the tiny 2350. I'll go on the overhead camera and show you that one there. So that's a little temperature sensor that I made just using it's Falling Sangana clock demo. I see. I did not realise that. That's what that nice little demo meant there. But yeah, I made this little kit from the Tiny 2350. That's powered by the Pimoroni Tiny 2350 Raspberry Pi RP 2350. But it's got that lovely little Quest connector on it, and that meant I could create this with no soldering whatsoever. And you can see there we've got the Pimoroni BME 280 breakout pressure, humidity and temperature. So yeah, it's got the Adafruit screen there as well. And just 3D printed a little stand for these to go in, just so that I could kind of showcase that. That was last week's video, working with displays and MicroPython. Gojiratron says, new Tufty, the new Tufty will be on my birthday list, absolutely. And Dale says, need some more Pimoroni stuffs, absolutely. I can't get enough of the Amigo Lipo Amigos as well. I use those in all kinds of projects. They're fantastic for battery powering your things, like the Pro version that's got the battery and the device connector in one. And then we've got the Pimoroni Pico Lipo 2s as well, which is a Lipo and a bit like a Pico 2, but 2350 powered with that 8 megs of PS RAM as well, just like the Tufty 2350. And there's just so much stuff in there. You can even buy the chips. They've got this nice little breakout there for that. I've not done too much with the clipper. You sent them a while ago. These are a cellular network connector. So you've got the antenna, you've got the little chip in there, and yeah, you've got the little SIM card holder and then the cellular network chip. And you can basically just use these on any of your projects. So Clipper is the name of that kind of range of stuff. I've still got mine. I've not used it on any project yet, but ideal for anything where you've not got nearby Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connectivity. All the things. Another one of my favourite boards. You've got the onboard there and all the different coloured buttons. Still got that one as well, just to hand. What's that one called? Kibo 2040. So yeah, the clipper is pretty awesome, Pietro. You definitely want to check that one out. And yeah, all the screens. There's all kinds of screens. Why can't I zoom out now? There we go. All kinds of screens on there. And the breakouts. There is so many breakouts. I could do a show on just going through each of the different breakouts. These make it really easy to connect up to your projects with no soldering, and you can reuse them as well. So yeah, that laser rangefinder is pretty useful. 8x8, so you get like you could do gestures and it will be able to recognize stuff. Real-time clocks, trackball, so many things. We did a video quite a while ago on the tiny effects, so you can add lights and light effects to your Lego projects very, very easy and very discreetly. So many things. And then yeah, look at that Pico graphics pack. That's a bit like the Badgers, but this one is using an LCD rather than that's also an LCD, an LCD graphics. So it's yeah, 120 by 64. It's a bit more retro. There we go. So what was that? Let me just scroll back. So yeah, Pietro was saying about that clipper. Yeah, you definitely want to check that out. That's a pretty cool piece of kit. John's got the Clipper LTE SMS to MQTT gateway on GitHub. Pietro says, my bank account is going to be happy thanks to... So this is it. Whenever Pimoroni have a sale, which they do a couple of times a year, so many things have been reduced. You basically just use up all your pocket money on that. So I've got an SCD30 and an VL53L5CX, which is the laser rangefinder to tinker with. There we go. They need a US office. Where he says, got loads of these recently from a macro pad project. Need a Pico screen to display. So there's loads of Pico screens. I'm actually going to include these on a video. I've got 3 of them. Where's the third one gone? There we go. So there's three immediate sizes. There's the 2.8-inch size, and these screens, you just plug your Pico into the back. That's how easy these are to use. I've done a whole bunch of projects that use these. This one even has the connector there, if you can see, the spice connector. So that one you can connect up the clipper, I think, to that. Then there is these tiny ones. These are really, really cute. This is a Pico display. That one's a 1 point something inch display, colour though. And then we have this other one, which is the 2-inch display. So I've used these. And again, you just plug your Pico into it and you can be using it right away. Really, really cool. Absolutely love those. I've got a whole ton of them. Bought them for all kinds of projects. They're really good value options on there. Cool. That's excellent money sink. Cool. Well, that's, I think, everything we've got time for this week. And yeah, next week I'll be at the 3D printing show in Manchester in the UK. So it's the Sanjay Mortimer Rip Rap Festival. So that is in the Manchester University of Manchester building. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. I'll be checking that out, seeing what everybody's up to there. That's where I actually saw the original Core 1 printer. That's what made me put my order in. So I'm going checking out what people have been up to there. What's that? Yes, so I'll be definitely checking that out. And so then the week after that, I think, is when it's video time. I think the next video is on the adding Wi-Fi to your projects. So yeah, thanks for watching. I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.